A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Super Foam Flying. And I'm really happy to say that Super Foam Flying has been getting some really outstanding progress. But when looking at blasters today, few would realize that such N-Strike classics, like the Element EX6, actually did in fact have the audacity to become so well put together by Hasbro themselves that it would eventually be resurrected thanks to a somewhat short-lived series called the Icon series, which ran between 2019 and early 2021 when they decided to pretty much close it off completely in favor of newer series that had some more originality put together. And so, as sad of news as that might come to be, in early 2021, elimination like that was certainly not a good idea, because I really feel like that if they actually tried their hardest, they could have actually brought back all sorts of great blasters out there. Not just the Elements, but they did bring back a lot of others. The Mag Strike, Spectre, Longshot, and even the Stampede ECS, which it's a bit of a run if you ask me, but 5 blasters out of what could have been dozens. Like, they could have brought back the Hornet AS6, the Scout, the Recon, Raider, Barricade, or any others. Even the Firefly probably would have been doable enough to put together with some more modern components in its internal structure. But in any case though, with the lifespan that it did have, it's still pretty good to know that it does exist. Because it's like putting out a good reboot to a well-known classic TV series, like Star Trek The Next Generation becoming the next generation to the storyline / lore that Star Trek had provided us back in the 60s. But in any case though, the Icon version of the Element EX6. Well, how does it do compared to the original? Well, first of all, the Element EX6 did in fact come as an action set, a Toys R Us exclusive, because as you know by now, Toys R Us is no more, pretty much. As sad as that might be as well. But the Element EX6 did eventually spring out for the very first time in the modern marketplace, mostly on an online note. I did in fact get this exact Element EX6 used on eBay, just like I do with a good majority of other Nerf blasters that I get, old or new, depending on what way I look at it. But it's pretty much the same exact thing as the original Element EX6, just a slight difference you can tell between the two. This is the Icon logo down here, where it says Series, Serie, and Serie, which of course is series in 3 different languages. Because this was in fact released in 3 different countries for the most part, as part of the majority of the marketing campaign that they were trying to do with this lineup, while it did live on between 2019 and 2021. The Element EX6 itself originally came with a handful of accessories, including a scope, but this one does not come with anything actually. This one in particular, of course, was an eBay bargain that I was able to get for only $7, which I'd say, at least for the price tag, it's pretty much appropriate. It's almost Goodwill quality, but I probably wouldn't have it any other way. It's just as simple to use as pulling back the Nightfinder styled priming rod in the back end and just pulling the trigger to fire. And then of course you have the generous dart storage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots that you can use, plus the main barrel itself. Theoretically speaking, without a dart holder, you could hold up to 6 darts at a time, which is a pretty big advantage over most other EX series blasters. In any case though, the Element EX6, whether you prefer the original or this new version from the Icon line, doesn't necessarily give you a whole lot of a difference. The only real big difference, other than the inclusion of the Icon logo to represent the fact that this is in fact a reincarnated model of the original Element EX6 from the N-Strike lineup in the late 2000s. You do have updated internals, you do have a bit of a more refined ergonomic feel to it, And of course, the nice sort of texture that they use in the plastic on the outside, which, if you could pretty much see it up close, then it's got that specific feel to the touch. But overall, I quite love this blaster. I did love it when it was an N-Strike blaster back in 2009, and I'm more than certain that with this Icon version that was released 10 years later, I'm pretty sure that at some point in time, Nerf will eventually have to come back to their senses and bring back the Icon series. I quite honestly feel like that they should do a lot of changes, because if they are in fact able to release occasional updates on the Modulus line, such as in the point in time where we actually got the Insurgent in 2021, 3 years after the series itself supposedly was killed off because of some newer introductions, I actually do feel that they should bring back the Icon series so that all of us can benefit from it. We do like to have some nostalgia every now and then, because these blasters, way back in the days of the N-Strike lineup, when they were dominating the market before any of these competitors supposedly caught up to it and tried to overtake their popularity. I'm more than certain that the Element EX6 Icon Edition could actually be the start of a whole new lineup where we could begin to see reincarnated variants of older blasters for the very first time in well over 10 to 15 years. And so with that in mind, that just conclusifies my end of the whole situation as it is, and my proposal to the world about what we could do if we were to get this series again. The Icon series surely did not have to die off like that, like many things in life, in the year 2021. So, the years have passed by, I'd say bring it back, at any point in time. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.